All right, guys, and welcome to the podcast. So today we are actually going to do well, since Valentine's Day is coming up, and last year I didn't even get a chance to do a Valentine's Day episode. Today I might actually do it. I mean, I wish I did it last year because Valentine's Day fell on a Friday, but there was just so much going on with the editing for like other episodes, and I don't remember too much, but I just remember like the editing issues and then having to push everything back a week late to the point where it's like I can't even do this anymore. But anyway, so we are going to do we're still going to do a Valentine's Day episode, except it'll be on a Friday the 13th. And I know people are going to be like, well, you can do a Friday the 13th episode. It turns out there's a lot happening this year. There's 3 Friday the 13th happening this year. So eventually, I'm probably going to talk about one of them after this. So regardless, I probably will do a Friday the 13th episode. But I want to do a Valentine's Day episode again. I get a chance to, and I really want to. This also might be my only one too, to be honest with y'all. And so yeah, let's do this one. Now, for the record, it's not gonna be like top 5 favorite films I like to watch on Valentine's Day or like favorite kinds of romantic films. These are just more of like I'm going to talk about 2 films that, that I don't really entirely watch around Valentine's Day or on Valentine's Day. I watch them year round, but I kind of like this can be a like 2 rom-coms because they're rom-coms. These are 2 rom-coms that I actually do like watching. And you know, I could put them on around Valentine's Day. But I'm going to talk about a 3rd film eventually that I do watch on Valentine's Day. But I kind of want it to be like, oh, let's talk about 2 rom-com films that I kind of like to watch a little bit within the year, but I can even like watching it on Valentine's Day, and then talking about a film that I watch on Valentine's Day, and that one I want to dive a little bit more deeper within the other 2 films. So I'm not gonna do sessions of like I'm gonna talk about this film, take a break. I'm gonna talk about this film, take another break, and then to my Valentine's Day film. I want to talk about the 2 films together, just because I'm not going to get too much of a deep dive into the 2 films, as I'm going to get to the 3rd one. So, yeah. So, I'm just going to talk about 2 rom-com films that I actually do like watching. One of them is I don't know how you guys are going to react to this one. So, one of the films I like watching, rom-com film I like watching is Sweet Home Alabama. Now, visually, and I mean really visually, some parts probably wouldn't go well in today's standard. I personally do not care. I mean, this was the 2000s. Come on, guys. It's not like every film's gonna age well, but I really did enjoy this one. I remember my mom and my sister liked watching it when it first came out. I don't know if anybody remembers this. There used to be like not DVD rental. What was it? It was basically like you buy a copy of a DVD, but then eventually you could only watch it like once or twice, because then it develops like some type of burnt mark, and that's about it. Like you could get them at like the corner stores and stuff like that. It's so weird. I don't know if anybody remembers this, but yeah, that's how I remember watching Sweet Home Alabama. But I for a while I didn't remember the movie until it would start coming up again on like Freeform, which is technically where I tend to watch it. Freeform, I think Tubi or Roku might have it. I gotta look it up. I remember watching on one of those 2. I just don't remember which one. But Sweet Home Alabama I enjoyed mostly because I'm a fan of Leonard Skinner, which I know I made a Freddy Krueger pitch, but if anybody wants to do a movie about Leonard Skinner, I am so open to that. Like I could get somebody to write it down, because I need someone who knows Leonard Skinner a lot more well than I do. I know about the plane crashes and the stories behind many of the band members, but if anybody's out there listening and you want to do a Leonard Skinner movie with me, let's get it rolling. Like come with me. We could get this crap going. But yeah, aside from that, yeah, so again, big fan of Leonard Skinner, even though at the time I didn't even know who wrote the song. But yeah, I do like Sweet Home Alabama. Reese Witherspoon is really funny in this film, how like, you know, she could separate her like the southern accent from the modern-ish kind of accent. And like the cast is really great. So if anybody's never heard of the film, I don't even know if you should call it a film, because there's a difference between a film and a movie. But if you've never seen it, it's basically like a woman is trying to get a divorce from her husband so that she can marry another person. And oh man, I'm gonna let y'all know, like, I'm not a political person, but this one fires on the Democrat Party in a comedic way, not like in today's standards, but in a way where it's like it's easy to make fun of you and we could all just move on and forget it. Can't do that anymore, unfortunately. But yeah, no, it's super funny. And like, it's not heavy on the romance, kind of. It's just more of like, I don't even know how to say it. It's like when you separate from someone for such a long time and you have like such a distinct relationship, deep down inside, that feeling you have towards them, it's still gonna be there. And when she develops, like, her feelings back for her husband or ex-husband, yeah, you kind of see it. And then when you know about the backstories of the characters and stuff like that, it's not perfect, guys. I know it's not perfect. Like, I think it's got like a 30-something% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's not the best, guys. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's just one of those movies where you just watch it just to have a good time, get yourself entertained for about 2 hours, then you can move on. It's also funny when it's like when you get to like the deep South stuff. Nothing like racist or anything as far as I'm aware of. But nothing deeply racist. I mean, it's just funny. Especially because like I think we have one character or who's like the friend of Melanie, and I think the actress is like from New Zealand or Australia, but like she can pull off a southern accent. But yeah, no, Sweet Home Alabama is definitely like that one movie that I like to watch around it. Not specifically this time of the year, but a lot throughout the year. But maybe, who knows, maybe I'll actually watch it this Valentine's Day. But yeah, Sweet Home Alabama, love that one. The other one is Pure 90s. I think it's 90s. I think it came out in 99. Yeah, Pure 90s. It's 10 Things I Hate About You. Again, yes, pretty of a generic pick, but we'll still kind of talk about that film. I think it will have like its 25th anniversary 2 years ago, though I think we all kind of forgotten about that. But yeah, 10 Things I Hate About You is, first of all, I didn't even know that this was kind of inspired by a Shakespearean play called Taming of the Shrew. And I mean, you get a lot of like references, like when you watch a lot of 90s and even early 2000s comedies, you find out that they're based off plays or short films. That's pretty funny. But yeah, 10 Things I Hate About You. I mean, that's where a lot of the world knew Heath Ledger, R.I.P. Heath Ledger. This was before he became, the Joker. I know he did some acting in Australia, because that's where he was from. And plus, he does play an Australian in this film. I know Brad Williams did make a joke about, like, when you hear somebody with an accent, even the straight men go gay. Because when I heard his accent, oh boy, like he was good looking. Heath Ledger was such a good looking guy. But it was like, it was him and damn, I forgot her name. Julia Stiles. There you go. Julia Stiles. Which is funny because I think around that same time she did one of those reimaginings of a Shakespeare play that takes place in modern times. So like Romeo and Juliet with Leo DiCaprio and Claire Danes. It was with Hamlet, and I think she played Ophelia. That's why my brain was like mixed up, because I was thinking of an O somewhere in there, but I'm like, there's no O in her name. Julia Stiles played Ophelia in Hamlet that starred Ethan Hawke. It's again those modern takes, though it's not modern because this was the 90s, but it's one of those like out of the era takes. I'm gonna have to start calling it that. Out of the era takes, a 90s take on a classic Shakespearean play with the same dialogue and everything. That is interesting how like she does that Shakespearean, and then she does the other one that's inspired by a Shakespearean play. But yeah, I know some people want to blame who was it, the bully? I forgot his name at this point. Well, I mean, was he a bully? He kind of, man, he was a bully. I mean, would you call him a bully though? But to my point, the sister was kind of the main villain in this one. Can anybody else agree with me on that? It's the sister's fault that like Julia Stiles' character gets played, because all she wanted to do was go out and get a date, but her father won't let her unless her sister goes out and starts going out. But her sister is like the most unlikable person at the high school. So yeah. And then yeah, everything's changing. I mean, you see like Joseph Gordon-Levitt, dude, that guy was so young. I don't know, I feel like it looked like he hasn't aged, but he also looks like he ages. Like his face still looks the same after so many years. But yeah, so it was It's like one of those. I remember watching that a long time ago because we had the VHS copy, and my sister would constantly play it. And by my sister, sometimes me too. Yeah, I remember watching it. I mean, it still comes out on Freeform. It has a pretty good cast too because it's Gabrielle Union, I believe, is in that one. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Heath Ledger, Julia Stiles, David Krumholtz. I think that's how you say his name. No, yeah, that has a pretty good cast. But yeah, this obviously this film I think did inspire Heath Ledger's career. He became an Oscar nominee after that movie was Brokeback Mountain, and then we know how it eventually turned out with The Dark Knight, with his unfortunate death. But his performance did eventually earn him an Oscar. I do wish he was around to accept the award. But yeah, it's like every time I watch that movie, not The Dark Knight, but I mean even The Dark Knight, but every time I watch 10 Things I Hate About You and I look at Heath Ledger, I was like, man, there's so much he could have done. But I mean, not to make this into a sad episode, which we'll eventually get to. But the 10 Things I Hate About You, I think y'all should give it a watch if you haven't seen it. Where can you find it? Hulu or somewhere? I think you can find it on Peacock. I wonder if you could find Sweet Home Alabama on Peacock. I don't know, but also like both have really banger music. What was it? Because like 10 Things I Hate About You was the first time I heard of that. Can't Get My Eyes Off of You. That was originally written by Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons. What was it? I Don't Give a Damn About My Bad Reputation. I mean, the 90s movies has had some pretty interesting some pretty awesome bangers is what I'm trying to say. I don't know. Which if we're talking about 90s music, NFL next year, can you get like Pearl Jam to perform? Because I mean, I'm not gonna get into the whole Bad Bunny thing because I just saw the performance. But next year, come on, give us some rock and give us some metal bands. Give us Metallica. We've been wanting Metallica for a long time. Rant over. So Sweet Home Alabama, 10 Things I Hate About You. Two really cool rom-coms I enjoy watching. I'll probably continue to watch. So if you've never given either or a watch, I highly, highly recommend them. I mean, you might like one more than the other. Most likely you'll probably like 10 Things I Hate About You more than Sweet Home Alabama. And you might not like both. And that's fine with that. Everybody's got their own opinions. I just hate when people have opinions and they say, don't go watch this movie, it sucks. No, you can just say, I don't like this movie, but you should watch it for yourself and not say the other thing. Because, well, I mean, who are you to say you shouldn't watch this? But that's, again, the rant. But y'all should check them out. But we're going to go on break. And once we go on break, we're going to dive deep into the movie that I actually do watch around this time of the year. So we're going on break. All right, guys, and we're back. Okay, so what is the movie that I watch around Valentine's Day or on Valentine's Day? I haven't done it for about 3 years, just because it's like school, but I'm gonna try to do it again. The movie that I like to watch around this time of the year, and I know some people are gonna like react and kind of think this is weird, but I mean, let me explain why. So what I watch around this year is the 1972 classic Cabaret. Now, let's get a lot of things clear out of the way. As I've said in the past, I'm not an ally. I understand that there are people out there who are gay or straight or bi or whatever it is out there. I love you folks, y'all, because y'all are people. I love people. I don't side it politically. That doesn't make anything better, I can tell you now, but that's just where I am. But I got many relatives and friends that are gay, and we've talked about this multiple times. We still love and respect each other, but I can't politically because so much has been happening throughout the years. But if you ever want to talk, I'm open to discussion. Now, in mine, yes, I get that is very heavy around this movie. It wasn't as heavy in the original play, which I will also be talking about a lot more. But in spite of that, it's the visual aspects that I enjoy about this movie, not specifically about the thematics of queerness, which is what is said in this, or what is around with this film is because it's not really like queer cinema, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say queer, to be honest with you, but it's like there's so many words that I can't like say that I don't know that I'm not allowed to say because I'm a straight guy, and it's like And it's like, I get so much hate, or I don't get hate mail, but it's like, if anybody says something that the LGBTQ community hears, and then they get a floodload of hate comments, and they're like, I was not aware of this. Nobody's told me this. I tried to be aware of this, but nobody's giving me any answers. This is where I'm at. So if I get a flood of comments for saying queer or gay or anything like that, just know that nobody's told me anything. So y'all can blame yourselves for this. But keep in mind that, yes, this is one of those films that's like regarded as part of queer cinema or gay cinema. I don't know what you would say, but it's not just that. It's more of about living in a dark time or not even just living in a dark time, seeing the rise of a dark time that's happening in a country that you've either been living or that you're just visiting, and you're seeing like how bad things are gonna get. That's what it was really about. So let's talk about Cabaret. Okay, Cabaret, if you've never seen it, it's based off the musical. I forgot who created them. It was based off a 1966 musical. At the time, it was considered the gayest musical ever. I believe that's what it was. But if you watch it, you guys are gonna be like, it's not as like gay coded, I guess you could say, as you sing. Well, you gotta understand this came out in 1966, so it's a little bit cleaner than what it would be. But throughout the years, it's evolutionized. Joel Grey plays the character called the MC. The MC is what do you call it? So MC, we all know, stands for the Master of Ceremonies. That's his name. He's not like a main character. He's a character that introduces the audience to this world. So it takes place in early 1930s Germany, and the MC is introducing the audience to the world, but also to the cabaret, because he's the MC of the show. He's also the MC of the cabaret. And if y'all don't know what a cabaret is a men's club. And there's a lot of like showgirls and stuff like that. So he shows the world like who we are in the cabaret, what's happening in Germany. And it ends with the Master of Ceremonies telling the audience, Auf Wiedersehen, à bientôt. Both mean see you later or goodbye. That's in German and in French. And it just depends, because there's so many variations of the play. So let's start with the movie first, because that's how I was introduced to it. The movie Cabaret, it's kind of similar to the play. It's a big difference from the play. So again, it has Joel Grey. Joel Grey is the first person to win an Academy Award and a Tony Award for playing the same person. Joel Grey wasn't going to be part of the original movie because Bob Fosse, who directed the movie, didn't want anything to do with the original play. He wanted to kind of create his own version while kind of still include songs and some of the thematics of the play. But he didn't want Joel Grey to be part of it because, he's considered part of the original. But like the producers and everybody else that was involved with the movie wanted Joel Grey to be part of the film, and Bob Fosse said okay. Bob Fosse allowed Joel Grey, and thus far he became an Oscar winner and a Tony winner. He's also the father of Jennifer Grey from Dirty Dancing. And Liza Minnelli is also in this film. She also won an Oscar for this film for Best Actress. It's her only win. I think it was her only nomination. And Bob Fosse would eventually win Best Director for the movie. It didn't win Best Picture. That was the year of The Godfather. Though, I think Cabaret was pretty close, but I think I don't know too much about what was the politics of the 1970s LA specifically. But I feel like some people were just like, I don't really want this gay film to win Best Picture, which is kind of hard to say when eventually that happens. And like another 30 years was Brokeback Mountain losing to, Crash. But anyway, so the play, well, I'll talk about the play, but the movie is basically about a British writer named Brian Roberts, played by, I forgot his name already, so give me a second. Yeah, it's Michael York. If you've ever seen Austin Powers, the leader of the, British intelligence. It's been a while since I've seen Austin Powers, but the leader of the British intelligence that recruits Austin Powers, that's Michael York. And who else? He also came out in it's a Jesus miniseries. I'm going to talk about it towards the end of the podcast. I mean, not towards the end of the podcast, but towards the end of the season. But he played John the Baptist in that one. He hasn't done a lot. I know he's been sick, or he had been sick. It's been a while since I ever caught up with Michael York. But Michael York is also in this film, and he plays a British writer who moves to Germany during the start of the rise of when Hitler took power. And he meets an American girl who works at a cabaret called the Kit Kat Club. And it explores the theme of like Cliff Roberts, what was it? Like his orientation. It's speculated that he's probably a bisexual. Or just bi-curious, because there's an emphasis where he did hook up with a rich German man, though I don't know if it was actually confirmed or not, considering that like that the rich German person that he hooked up with also had like relationships with Liza Minnelli's character. But he shows up and towards the film he starts to see like what is it? Like how Germany is becoming like he just moved right when the start of Nazism came. And I'm sorry guys, I know certain platforms are going to be like you have to censor this. Specifically, I can't. So I don't know what's going to happen if I keep saying it, but saying Yahtzee just doesn't sound right. So if I can lower it, I could say Third Reich or the German army. But if I end up saying it, I it's just, this is history. I can't stop. But anyway, seeing the rise of the Third Reich, I'll put it like that. He just realized like this is no longer a place I can be associated with. But Liza Minnelli's character, Sally Bowles, she says there's really nothing for her outside of Germany because she's always wanted to be an actress or a star. And it starts to get quiet. Like literally, I'm not saying that like it's quiet and we're on record now. I'm saying it starts to get quiet because when Cliff Roberts leaves, he left for other reasons. One of them being, and this is also in the play too, Sally gets pregnant towards the end of the film. She doesn't know who the father is because again they had the same relationship with Max. I think that's what his name is in the film. Maximilian. He's a character for the film specifically. He's not in the play, but she doesn't know who's the father. I mean, that's a weird Maury episode. And then eventually, like, she gets an abortion. I'll just say right now, I'm pro-life. That's all I gotta say. I'm pro-life, but I'm not gonna get into this argument. She eventually gets the abortion because she feels like she's not fit to be a mother, which is usually the normal argument there. But to my point being, she gets it. Brian just can't live with that. So they've made their peace with each other and they say their goodbyes. And then at the end, Sally performs one last song at the Kit Kat Club. Well, we don't know if that's the last song in the universe of the film, but we know it's the last song in the movie. And then eventually Joel Grey's, the MC, just says, where are your troubles now? Forgotten? I told you so. I might end up just saying the entire line. It says, we have no troubles here. Here life is beautiful. The girls are beautiful. Even the orchestra is beautiful. And he says, towards the end, Auf Wiedersehen, Abianto. He takes a bow, runs behind the curtains, and then the camera pans to this weird reflection mirror, which we start off in the beginning of the movie, and it's just like so quiet that you start seeing many of the audience members having swastikas on their arms, because it starts off like pure comedic and people having a good time, and you just see a bunch of laughs and stuff. And then as soon as like the notes just start getting darker and darker, you just see that there's just stillness in the audience and seriousness, because like even the MC starts off in the movie smiling towards the audience, but then at the end he has a straight face indicating that shit's gonna go downhill. I'm sorry for my language, but that's pretty much how it goes. But yeah, that's eventually it. So I would love to still see a remake of this film. I know that's weird, but again, willing to open to do it. I'll do it, but I'd be changing a lot. Because the difference is that there are characters that are in this film that they're not excluded. They just don't have a big they're not as present in the movie as they are into the play. In the play, there's a Fraulein Schneider. I think that's who it is. Hold on. So here, where is it? Hold on. So Cabaret. All right, I just looked it up too. John Kander, Fred Ebb, and Joe Masteroff are the creators of the original Cabaret play. So yeah, here it is. Yeah. So Fraulein Schneider, I believe, is the what is it? She's like an innkeeper of this place in Berlin. She has I think she has like a love for, I think it's Herr Schultz. So give me a second. Yeah. So it's Fraulein Schneider and Herr Schultz. Their story in the play isn't really like there in the movie. So the story is that Herr Schultz is a Jew. I think he's a fruit stand vendor or shop owner. It's been a while, and she's in love with, or he's in love with Fraulein Schneider, who is not a Jew. And then Fraulein Schneider has another tenant called Fraulein Kost, who is basically like bringing home a man every night. But yeah, so those characters aren't very prominent in the movie as they are in the play. And I would like to, if I was to do the movie, I would like to actually put that story back in. But it's yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be spoiling a lot of this, so I do apologize. But yeah, there's this story where they're supposed to get married in the play, but this German officer who's not in the movie, I think he's like, there's a character in the movie that's supposed to be him, but he doesn't turn out evil or anything. He's not even a German officer. It turns out he's a Jew as well. And there's a love story in him and this other woman who's also a Jew who's being harassed also. Yeah. So to the point. Yeah. So the German officer is Ernst Ludwig. I think that's how you say his name. So yeah, so Ernst Ludwig is a German officer, though we don't know this until towards the end of the first act, when you can see the politics of it all. Because it starts off like very very happy and energetic. Even the songs are very happy and energetic. Go listen to the play or even just the soundtrack. Because like Wickelmann, which is the opener, is a very happy and like upbeat song. Wickelmann, I think it means welcome in German, and the MC is like welcome to the cabaret, like to the audience, breaking the fourth wall, welcome to the show, to also the club patrons, welcome to the cabaret, welcome to the Kit Kat Club. After the second, or as soon as the second act starts, all the songs don't really seem to have that upbeat energy and stuff, except If You Can See Her Through My Eyes. But even that song, and that's also in the movie too, but even that song still has has a darker meaning. So it's gonna sound racist, but I'm gonna say it anyway. So If You Can See Her Through My Eyes is the MC is performing with I think it's one of the cabaret girls, because there's cabaret girls and cabaret boys in the show, and he's performing with one of the cabaret girls dressed in a monkey outfit. And at this time, the German army did not see any Jews more than human. They saw them as animals. So he's basically saying, if you can see her through my eyes, like if you're seeing somebody that's not human, then that's the problem, because I don't see a monkey or an animal. Because even it starts off saying, I know what you're thinking. You're wondering about why I chose her out of all the women in the world. But yeah, again, I know some people are going to be like, Gilbert, you watched this on Valentine's Day? Yes, I know. There's some romance, but it's more of a realistic type of like how the world goes, especially like if you were trying to find romance back in those days, back in early 30s Germany, during the start of it, because it gets dark. Like the play gets dark towards the end, especially if you're watching the Alan Cumming version. So because like the MC of Cabaret changes a lot. So like he starts out with Joel Grey's version. It's just he's a guy who wears makeup and wears a suit, and he likes flirting with all the women. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But it gets a little bit more sexualized as the play progresses. Not like as like the play itself is moving forward. I mean like when they start to not rewrite the play, but like starting to change the play up. So when Alan Cummings, if we all know Alan Cummings, for people like me, we know him as, I was about to say Fruit Loop. Was it Loop? And it's been a while since I've seen. Give me a second. Flute Loop. Give me a second. Give me a second. I'm trying to look at it. I forgot his name. Floop, that's who it is. If you're someone like me, you remember Alan Cumming as Floop from Spy Kids. He also played Nightcrawler in X-Men 2. He also played Loki in Son of the Mask. I think he's coming back as Nightcrawler. By the way, I don't know if he's gonna do his cabaret spiel, because he's hosting BAFTA this year. So I don't know if he's gonna do his cabaret opener. Probably not, but I would love to see that. But anyway, when Alan Cummings took over the play, and this version of the MC became the more popular one. He's barely clothes. Like he's mainly wearing suspenders and some tight pants, and that's it. And he's like flirting with all the cabaret girls. He's also flirting with the cabaret boys. This is when they actually added boys to the mix, and this is where the gayness actually got ramped up. So and it's implied. It's always been questioned if the MC was a queer character or not. Most likely, he could have been a bi character, we don't really know, because like the character of the MC is a mystery, and he changes like every adaptation or every like so and so years. So but the Alan Cumming version of the character is the kind of the more popular one, and other actors have played that character on Broadway. Michael C. Hall, yes, like Dexter himself has played this character. John Stamos, again, yeah, John Stamos has played the character. Neil Patrick Harris wouldn't be that big of a surprising, because a lot of gay folks have actually played him. Actually, Joel Grey came out as gay, I think like 20 years ago. So he's always been like plagued by a lot of queer actors, a lot of gay actors or bi actors, some non-binary actors too. Because most recently, what's his face, Billy Porter became the first black person to ever play the character. And Eddie Redmayne, when he was cast to play the character, his MC was so weird. Like it's almost close to Cummings' character. But I mean, there's just so much to it. They added like a party hat. They still have like the tight pants, but his suspenders are now like a vest, I guess you could say. But yeah, it changes a lot. And the dynamics of the MC, the character dynamics of the MC changes depending on which one you're watching. Because like the MC will always be wearing if we're going by the traditional MC with Joel Grey, he'll always be wearing a suit and tie, because that's how it usually goes. He'll always be wearing a suit and tie, except for this little dance routine that's in the play. He'll just be wearing he'll be wearing whatever the cabaret girls were wearing. Because that's just him being fun. That's the character. That's the point of the MC. But yeah, the Alan Cummings version of the character. I think sometimes he's not wearing clothes, but at the end of the movie, or not the end of the movie, but I mean, there's a video recording out there directed by Sam Mendes, actually, of Alan Cummings' like introduction as the character. But he'll end up playing, when he plays the MC at the end of the play. He takes off this robe that he's wearing, and he's wearing a concentration camp uniform. And it has the Star of David, which is, if you know about the concentration camp, the Star of David will identify a prisoner, I'm calling them prisoners, that this person was a Jew. He'll also have a pink triangle. A pink triangle, back in the day, was a prisoner who was a homosexual. Because remember, the Holocaust had different kinds of priorities who were deemed like unfit to live in Europe, not Germany, Europe. So it was anybody that was Jew, gay, gypsies, Romanis, anybody disabled, Jehovah's Witnesses, communists, like anybody that was deemed not fit to live amongst the normal Europeans. So most of the time he'll end up wear a concentration camp that has a Star of David and a pink triangle, because the MC is questioned to be a queer character, because there's a song and dance routine called Two Ladies in the first act. And in the original, it is actually two ladies. But in, I guess, like the rebooted version with Alan Cumming, it's one lady and one of the cabaret boys in a drag, but it's still called Two Ladies. Just it's more of like a fun act, I guess you can say. And yeah, like I said, shit gets dark in this play. And it would get even darker if we remade this film, if I was to remake this film. I will tell you, like, if I was to do this, like, two actors that I would think would be an interesting MC, like, if I'm going straight with Alan Cummings, I would think Harry Styles, just because, he always wears a dress on stage. If I want to mix the two, like if I want to create my own MC, maybe Timothée Chalamet. It just depends on because what are you going for in this film? You get what I mean? So there's a lot of differences between the play and the film. Going back to the film, as I said, like Sally Bowles is American. Well, in the play, she's actually British. And Cliff Roberts in the play, his name is actually Brian Roberts is the male character in the play. But I mean, in the movie it's Brian Roberts, but in the play it's actually Cliff Bradshaw. Cliff Bradshaw is the American. They changed him up in the movie. There's also like there was a lot of songs that were omitted from the play because of certain storylines and stuff. Like one of the They wanted to keep all the songs in the cabaret at the club in the movie. The only song that wasn't in the club was a song called Tomorrow Belongs to Me. Tomorrow Belongs to Me is basically like when things are getting serious. It's basically like it was, I'm gonna say it again, it was in the movie, it was considered the Nazis' anthem. Tomorrow belongs to me, like tomorrow's gonna belong to, the Third Reich. And it's kind of similar in the play, I think. It's been a while, but or at least in the first act, towards the end of the first act, that's what Tomorrow Belongs to Me stands for. And it's like, it's the same thing, basically. It's like the character of the male character, regardless if we're talking about Brian Roberts or Cliff Bradshaw, he can't stand the politics that's happening. Now, here's an indication. I'm going to tell you this. If I was to do this, I'm going to start off saying that the Nazi Party is a socialist movement, because it was. It started off that way. So if you remember history, Hitler did not start the fascist party. It was Mussolini. Once Hitler became friends with Mussolini, he moved his entire party to the fascist party. But so at this time, this wasn't fascism, it was socialism. And then they eventually moved it like towards the late 30s, I think towards the late 30s. Actual historians, correct me if I'm wrong, but because I know it started off it was a socialist movement, and then it became part of fascism towards the end. But that's how I was started off with. But yeah, no. So Cabaret, I know I'm talking about it like Gilbert. Again, you watched this movie on Valentine's Day. Yes, it's an interesting romantic love story that's real, especially in a government time or time that, like, even if you're in a straight relationship, you don't know like how this could last. You get what I mean? Even if like you're in a straight Gentile, I'm gonna have to say it like that, a straight Gentile relationship, because none of the characters were, the main characters weren't Jewish. You get what I mean? Like, you see like things aren't panning out, and you think like, I cannot stay here. You get what I mean? So that's kind of like why I like watching it around this time. Like Valentine's Day movies don't always have to be about like the guy and the girl get together at the end. Now you can watch Brokeback Mountain on Valentine's Day, and you know how that story ends. If you've seen the movie, or Titanic, which for the record, I don't care about the whole two of them can fit on the door. That's just an old story, guys. I don't know why you guys are so obsessed with that. That's just how it was written. Just accept that and stop worrying about, oh, they both could have fit on the door. Just shut up with that already. I'm done with that. But to my point, Titanic could have been a Valentine's Day movie if you have the time to watch it, because that's a very long ass movie. I don't know what y'all watch around this time. Some people can watch horror films. I know people watched Hard Eyes last year, which I have yet to see. I'm probably going to watch it during the week, because I want to see the kill count before, or I want to see the movie before James Janice releases the kill count. It just varies, guys. So yeah, Cabaret is the Valentine's movie I watch. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be a love romantic story. It could just be a story where love is the focus of it, and sometimes maybe the characters don't get together, but they still have hope for each other. Heck, I mean, La La Land, y'all know how that movie ended, and y'all know how the Oscars ended with that one. But yeah, I'm gonna take a break right now, and yeah. All right, guys. I know there was pause last week, or like there was pause, before. Or what I'm trying to say is, I know there wasn't an episode that came out before this one. And there's a reason for that. A couple of weeks ago, my grandmother had unfortunately passed away. She left this earth, and now she's with the Lord now, and it was tough. There was just I just didn't feel like doing an episode around this time. I just wanted to focus on my family. So, if you've been following me personally, not with Tough Love Pictures, but personally, then you know why. And I do appreciate you guys for understanding why I haven't released it. I never even made an update about the previous release, because the night that I finished editing the episode was the night I found, or actually that morning, I found out about it. I found out about my grandmother's passing. She was 81. She was my dad's mom. I was her only grandson. By definition, that means I was her favorite grandchild. She because my dad and my aunt, they both had two daughters, two being my sister, and then my cousins. She had five grandchildren, counting me actually, and then two great granddaughters, my cousin's kids, and she was just well loved. Grandma, I remember all the times we had together. Times I've helped you mow your lawn. I helped stuff around your house. I missed the pool that you and Phil owned many years ago. I remember swimming in that pool so many times. I was so excited to go to your house when I was a little kid, and we were there for each other when my dad passed. I remember the tears we've shed and the times we've talked about this, but and I wasn't there when your husband died. Just because I've already been through so much that I couldn't go, and you understood why. And for the record, guys, this was a different husband. Her and my grandfather split. I think when my dad left high school, and she got remarried not long after. But both people she's married were my grandfathers, and she was there when my grandfather passed. She was there for support for all of us, and I know you've made your peace with him, and I know you get to reunite it with your Phil and my dad. To Juanita Garcia, this is your grandson speaking. I'm gonna miss you. Thank you all so much for your understanding, for your prayers. I hope you guys have a great night, day, morning, whenever you're listening to this. Signing off.